Wen was not tired, but she was exhausted mentally. She just wanted to run away from this situation. No, she didn't feel the urge to cry to feel better. She didn't want to utter a single word about anything. She waited for a few minutes as they and Jungkook got ready. They were planning to go to take the dilator set. Wen tried to wear an artificial smile till they were gone. And now the home was empty. Wen took a blanket and lied on the bed for a nap. Her eyes were still closed when she could hear some random movements, probably in the kitchen area, and soon she heard the sound of opening the door. Taehyung, welcome home, Yoongi greeted. He noticed Taehyung was carrying a big bag. What did you buy? Yoongi asked, but the matinee answered instead of Taehyung. It's Wan's wedding dress. Thankfully, Wan didn't receive the call. What do you mean by thankfully Wan didn't receive the call? Don't tell me that you are planning a surprise wedding for the bride, Jimin questioned. Do you think she is going to say yes normally and would agree to go to the bridal store? I don't think so. The magnate was about to start an argument with Jimin, who had just come back from his work. Okay, stop. Where is Van? Stopping them, they asked about Van. Oh, she is sleeping in the study room. Namjoon entered into the living area while ruffling his hair. She was looking exhausted, so I didn't interrupt her. Namjoon, it's 9 p.m. in the evening. I know she is on leave, but that doesn't mean it's the time when she gets the chance to take a nap. And you were saying she is exhausted? What did she do? She is just overthinking? She definitely thought what she was going through is just a nightmare, and when she will open her eyes, it would be a fresh start. Taehyung, I know she is your wife, but what she is doing, nobody can stop me from scolding her. Yoongi blurted out while preparing the ramyeon. But Yoongi, we have always experienced the situation from this side of the table. Being a medical personnel, she is at the other side of the table feeling insecure about herself, about her and Taehyung's relationship, and more than that, she is too young. Taehyung is the person she depends on the most. The elder was trying to justify one's situation when Yoongi interrupted him. I bet she will refuse to eat the ramen with us. Not even a spoon, cause she is not hungry. What if she snatches the bowl and eats the ramen all by herself? The magnate popped the question out of blue and Young smiled. I will drink 7 glasses of water if she even tastes this. And for your kind information, she is not allergic to this ramen, and I have seen her having this when she used to be hungry yet refused to leave sleeping Junior alone. Taehyung was quietly listening their conversation but didn't speak anything. Neither he supported Van nor Yoongi. Van could hear their voice, but she didn't hear what they were talking about. She got up and headed towards the living cum dining area. How was your day? She greeted them with a smile. Great, Hobie replied immediately. Join us, we have prepared ramyeon. Hobie invited, and she could feel all the 7 pairs of eyes were eagerly waiting for her answer. Oh, smelling good, but I don't have appetite, Wen replied. What? Just taste it. It's Bangtan style ramen. The magnate insisted and she denied. Her eyes scanned the whole room to see the set of dilators but couldn't find anything similar to the package of the dilator sets. She silently sighed in relief but didn't notice that these eyes were fixed on her. They were silently observing her behavior and gestured her to take a seat beside him. Have a glass of water then? Indeed, it was their bet, and Wen was just a part of their discussion, but Taehyung really wanted her to join them. Wen nodded and sat beside him. As you denied to taste the ramen, you have to drink each glass of water behalf of every person present in the room, they uttered. One gulped down as she counted 8 into 200 ml is equal to 1.6 liter. She was aware of the fact how casually cruel the Bangtan boys were when it was about any stupid bet. No matter how stupid their bet was, but they always took that seriously. Don't waste your time, cutie, they whispered in her ears. You might have finished 2 glasses of water if you just did what you were told. They handed her a glass of water. Although this demeanor was casual to the rest of the boys, but only one knew how stern his gaze was. One could feel his cold urge as he wrapped his arms around her waist and kept eating his portion of the late night snack. As his fingers traced her, she gulped down the whole glass of water in one go. They suppressed his chuckle seeing this nervous version of Van. And before the hungry bunny could finish his portion of ramen, Van had already finished 7 glasses of water. One by one, Namjoon, Jin, Yoongi, Hobi, Jimin, and Jungkook left the dining area after finishing their portion of food. Van thought they would stop teasing her now, but his fingers were teasing her more and more. Stop. I need to. Van spoke as her endurance to be almost exhausted. Kitten, go and empty your bladder. I will be waiting for you in our room. They whispered in his usual husky voice. Without wasting a single moment, Van rushed to the washroom. As Van unlocked the door of the washroom, she found Yontan was playing with his dad. She sighed in relief and was about to step inside the bedroom when she heard Tay's voice. Have you done the warm up exercises? And her body was frozen at a spot. She gulped down heavily. Her eyes were fixed on Yontan as at that moment only he could save her from Tay. She silently took her steps and sat on the bed. They actually, I. She hesitated, though she knew the Pomeranian would not understand what she was about to say. Oh, okay, I understand. They shyly smiled. Play with us for some time. You have drunk 7 glasses of water, so you will soon feel your next rush. Don't hesitate to inform me. I will help you to find the right muscles, okay? Van nodded. Yes. She was embarrassed, but as she saw Tay's lip line was curved, her face was all red in embarrassment. After about half an hour, they noticed Van's feet when he bent down to collect Yantan's favorite toy from the floor. Van, why didn't you tell me that? Van closed her eyes in embarrassment. She was trying to figure out how to say that she was feeling the urge to. She was fidgeting her toes, and they noticed that. As Van was about to step inside the washroom, she heard Tay's warning voice. Don't lock from inside. Don't lock from inside? What does he mean by that? Does he want to with me? No, that would be too embarrassing for both of us. Van's thought was interrupted as they shook her shoulder and gestured her to sit on the toilet seat. He gently tucked her oversized t-shirt and stretched her legs. Now, obviously, she was too shy and embarrassed and couldn't actually release her bladder. They took the chance and washed his hands properly. It was getting impossible for Van to hold her bladder anymore, so she pressed the flush and started. They rushed and stretched her closed legs to open. Now stop it. What did he say? Stop. Is it a game? Am I playing the toilet seat game? Val looked at Theo with confusion, but he had already bent down on his knees and looked at her. She was trying, but couldn't stop in the midway. He observed and silently nodded. I'm just inserting my little finger. I hope it won't hurt you. He asserted her and gently pushed his pinky finger. Don't move. Just breathe and try to touch up around my finger. When closed her eyes. Gritting her teeth, she tried to follow his order and they nodded. Yes, these ones. Do you understand? Wan looked at his eyes with full of confusion. Of course, she could identify the right sets of muscles, but she didn't know what to do next. And soon she realized in what situation they were. Specifically, she was. Her already red face was getting more and more red. Wash up your hands first. One spoke in a low tone. They looked at one with a little disappointed face, yet he got up from his sitting position and applied the hand wash. Lie down on the bed. His voice sounded a little disappointed. Believe me, I really have figured out the right sets of muscles, but I don't know what to do. One tried to justify herself and they shrugged his shoulders in response. I wanted to test you, Van, and you told me to wash my hands. Never mind. Decide. I hope you just get cured first, so that I would be able to test you every day. Let me show you the setup dilators. Obviously, the dilators were not something new to him, but it was something she wasn't that much familiar with. They opened the package and took out the dilators one by one, and one gasped. She gulped down her nervousness and looked at them. Can you use your fingers? Isn't it quite similar? I mean, these are cute yet scary. They couldn't but smiled. I think only you can have this privilege. They was about to get up to take the pack of finger cards when one stopped him. If only I can have this privilege, then why are you thinking to use those latex shit? I mean, you used your finger and it was quite comfortable. It's my first time, please. His eyes were fixed on Van. The way she was pleading, he was sure she just wanted to avoid those silicone things. Okay, he nodded, but only for today. From tomorrow, you will be using this. Okay, but can I ask you another question? Lowering her tone, Van asked. Yandan has gone to sleep with Cook, so it's only you and me in the room. They thought she was asking about their privacy, but he was wrong. I wanted to ask you if this would hurt. One almost whispered the last part of the sentence. And they couldn't but frown for a moment. Considering her situation, he sighed. Okay, tell me, does it hurt when you got your vaccine? Oral vaccine? When asked, and received an I'm so done with you look. No, I mean when you get your injections. I try to behave like I'm a brave girl, not a coward. Who doesn't get frightened seeing the needle? One's answer was straightforward and they nodded. I just wanted to say it may feel a little discomfort, but it should not be hurting, okay? Let me wash my hands for one more time. They quickly yet properly washed his hands and put on a pair of gloves. You told me to not use finger cards, so I'm using these gloves. He smiled and stood in front of the bed. Lie down properly. Reclining on the bed, one lied. You can bend your knees or you can make a diamond shape. While instructing her, they was positioning below to provide her proper support. They had planned to use the fingers of his dominating hand, so using the index finger and thumb of his non dominant hand, that is left hand, he separated the labia. Keep your muscles relaxed, Van, and slowly inserted his already lubricated little finger. It was smooth, As he was using the fingers of his dominating hands, he could sense how smooth that was. When I'm going to insert my ring finger, relax and tell me if it hurts. They decided to progress with the next fingers. How much? When wanted to know how much pain should she tolerate, and they playfully pinched on her cheeks. Like 4 out of 10? Okay, ready? Now relax. He gently inserted his ring finger. He looked at her face, trying to figure out whether she was in pain or how much pain she was enduring. Usually he was used with dilator, and that time it was his ring finger, so it was quite unusual for him too. He raised his hand and handed his phone. Can you check my email if the university updated my schedule? Though he just had spoken those words to distract her, but when he felt she was trying her best to keep her muscles relaxed, he simply cracked his neck. Never mind, I will check later. Slowly he removed his finger and quickly, yet the most gentle way, taking the dilator similar to the circumference of his ring finger, he inserted inside her, slowly, gently. So he just inserted the silicone thing when exhaled, and they nodded. Just try to keep it inside. He started kissing her hairs. Relax, Van. 12 more minutes. The dilator was inserted only three-fourth portion of its total length. Please hold it for me. It's getting out. I'm not pushing it. After about 9 minutes, when uttered. These eyes were fixed on her. She was trying her best to respond. Hmm. He hummed and started rotating the dilator slowly. Can you please start the in and out session from the next session? Wen tried to keep her muscles relaxed but couldn't suppress her anxiety more. Okay, kitten, as you wish. They tapped on her shoulder gently before gently taking out the dilator. I'm not going anywhere, okay? He didn't forget to reassure her before reaching the wash basin to wash the dilator. They checked the dilator before washing that under running water whether there was any hint of blood, and fortunately nothing was there. After cleaning the dilator with hot soapy water and drying that, he stored that, and now it was time for Van to clean up. As the session was done without any trouble, they was feeling quite relaxed. He was already in his home and Van was the only patient, so he didn't feel the rush. As he hadn't noticed any blood stain, he was quite relaxed. Standing beside their bed, he was observing her. She was looking exhausted and his heart ached for some reason. He was trying to find resemble between the girl who had almost crushed her stepfather, who was exhausted for marrying him by the fellow students, who was affectionate to Junior, and last but not the least, who was lying almost lifeless on the bed, just breathing, trying to survive. They was choked emotionally, but that wasn't the appropriate time to break down. He gently kissed her soft pair of lips. You need to wash up. He whispered in her ears. Come on, try to get up. Van hummed lazily. I thought I just found the right muscles, but now I think I don't have any. It feels so numb. Let me help you to wash up. He ruffled her hair softly. He noticed her skin was glistening with a thin layer of sweat. Wanna take a bath? He asked softly. I want, but I don't think I have that much of energy left inside my body. But you need to wash up, kitten. He rubbed his nose on her cheeks before taking her almost lifeless body into his arms and carried her in bridal style to the washroom. As one was put inside the bathtub, she could feel her body was getting relaxed gradually. This warm touch that was helping her to clean up was too comfortable. His warm touch was kind of healing her. Can I sleep here? One muttered, "It's so comfortable here." "No, you can't." Taehyung spoke in a stern voice while scooping her into his embrace. He carried her in bridal style and stepped inside their bedroom. "And I have to join the university tomorrow. We actually need to rest ourselves." He rubbed his nose on the tip of her nose and laid her on the bed. "What's your reporting time?" When asked they who probably was setting the alarm time. "10 a.m." they replied before laying beside her. Wrapping his arm around her thin waistline, he took her into his embrace, and for no specific reason, he casually rested one of his palms on her tummy. It's stressful when I think about my condition, but why I can't stop thinking about a little one who would resemble both of us. Why my mind is not tired to plan how would I ask you for a baby. I mean, oops, I think I should not leak that, but yeah, like I love your touch just a few minutes ago when you. I still don't feel like I have enough energy to reply you. Reply would be a big word. I don't even have the energy to kiss you with same intensity, but you make my heart pound every single time. Every single time you have touched me. Van was muttering her heart out when they kind of stopped her intentionally. Not because he was getting bored, because she was getting emotional. She was exhausted from the first session and she needed rest. He gently pecked on her forehead. "Van, don't think so much. Your muscles are just tensed up. That's it. It has nothing to do with your response when I touch you." He closed his eyes. Closing his eyes, he kept patting Van, and soon she also fell asleep.